This was the first time that we got an opportunity to see 10 Democratic presidential candidates all on one stage in one night for a debate. And what this debate really did is it clarified that there is a trio of candidates that are at the top of this field: Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders. What this debate really made clear is that there is a clear trio of candidates at the top of the field: Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders. And that was clear from the opening minutes of the debate, when those candidates got into a substantive and contentious conversation about health care, with Warren and Sanders representing the liberal position and Joe Biden representing the more moderate wing of the Democratic Party, who wants to build on Obamacare, who wants to continue on largely with that model instead of blowing the whole thing up and starting over again. You saw Biden really try to be more forceful in representing his views, putting those liberal senators more on the defensive about how exactly they are going to pay for something like a government-run program, a fully government-run program. It was probably one of Biden's best moments of this campaign. He seemed more confident. He was crisper in his answers than he has been on this subject throughout the summer. The ultimate thing that you want to know, though, out of these debates is, did anybody change their standing? And I think among those three candidates, the answer is probably not really. If you're a fan of Joe Biden, if you think that his more moderate positions are the direction that the party should be taking and that that's the best way to beat Donald Trump, he gave you enough there to feel confident in him as a candidate. But if you think that he is out of step with the party, if you think that he is not bold enough in his ideas, there are certainly other options on that stage for you tonight, Warren and Sanders being among those. And they had strong enough showings in their own right that their supporters are unlikely to be looking for other options at this point. I think the other big takeaway from this debate is that it was a moment for some of these lower tier candidates who have been struggling to really break through to introduce themselves to voters. One of the candidates who I think undoubtedly had a strong night on that front was Beto O'Rourke. He's the former Texas congressman who burst into this Democratic primary with a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of interest, and he really faded. It was after the shooting in his hometown of El Paso, Texas, that he has started to get a little more attention. He started to take a different approach to this primary, leaning really hard into the issue of gun violence. And one of his strongest moments on the stage was when he made abundantly clear that as president of the United States, he would move to take away AR-15s, an assault weapon, away from people who currently have them. He did not flinch in that answer. He leaned into it aggressively, and I think that's going to be a moment you're going to see replayed over and over again. Amy Klobuchar, the senator from Minnesota, ended the night with a deeply personal story about how she got involved in politics in the first place. She tried to lighten the mood at times with some of her signature jokes. You also had a compelling closing argument from Pete Buttigieg, the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, who talked about coming home from Afghanistan, where he was fighting for the United States military, and coming out, telling his constituents in South Bend that he was gay. And again, a personal story that will likely resonate with a lot of people. There were a lot of discussions in this debate about immigration. The debate was held in Texas, and Texas is a border state, and a lot of discussion about how Democrats would try to roll back some of what we've seen from the Trump administration on that front. Also, a lot of discussion about race in America and how whoever is the Democratic nominee tries to address some of these racial tensions that didn't necessarily start under Donald Trump, but seem to have been exacerbated by his presidency. This is a tough question for Democrats. They are all united, certainly, on their feelings that Donald Trump should be out of office. You heard candidates saying that Trump is a racist, that Trump is a white supremacist. They are very forward-leaning in their language.